Well, President Cyril Ramaphosa is this morning hosting his Finland counterpart, President Sauli Väinämö Niinistö, on a state visit. And the visit seeks to strengthen trade and investment between the two countries. President Niinistö will be accompanied by a delegation of Finnish business leaders. An eNCA senior reporter, that's Aviwe Mtila, is at the Union Buildings. Joining us live now to bring us the very latest coming from the Union Buildings. And colleague, later on we saw preparations still going underway to see both President Cyril Ramaphosa and the President of Finland come together. But what's the latest from where you stand now?
Well, we're seeing the ministers trickle in here at the seat of power, the Union Buildings, of course, in preparation to receive the Finnish counterparts. That's President Sauli Väinämö Niinistö, president, of course, of the happiest country in the world, according to that World Happiness Index. In fact, one of those ministers is the Minister of International Cooperation. That's Naledi Pandor. Thank you very much for joining us at eNCA. But maybe let's touch on what you're looking to get out of this meeting with the Finnish here.
Well, I think, in diplomacy, establishing and retaining friendships is very, very important. So we're really thrilled that the President of Finland is here. He's not an executive president, but he wields a great deal of influence in Finland. And so it's important that he does pay attention to South Africa and our relations with Finland. This is an old established partner, but the relationship has now transcended beyond support for apartheid, for our struggle against apartheid, into support for the development and economic ambitions of South Africa. We have many Finnish companies located in our country, and Finnish companies are playing a very important role as South Africa transits from 4G to 5G.
And when you look at the economy, Minister, I'm assuming renewables, energy would be one of the key priorities. What will you be having in those roundtable discussions?
Well, I think, again, expanded cooperation. Finland is currently invested in South Africa at the level of around 4.5 billion rand through Finnish companies that have established plants in South Africa. In the past 2 years, many Finnish companies have pledged at the various investment conferences hosted by President Ramaphosa, and we have new investment to the value of around 2.3 billion. So, again, very positive relationship. But, one of the historical lessons of Finland is that it moved from being a country that relied on extraction into a country that honed human resources, built high-level skills, and supported innovation hugely. So we would like to learn from Finland how we boost innovation in South Africa, and in particular, get the private sector involved in producing innovative, high-value added products, because that's what earns you the kind of growth that South Africa needs.
And how do we then balance out the relationship, especially economically, as at this stage it seems like Finland exports more to South Africa than South Africa does to Finland?
This has to be part of the discussion. When I look, for example, at our exports, I don't think we're exporting sufficient high-value added goods. I also think in terms of agricultural product, we can do much more. So we need to discuss that, and I'm glad that we're having a joint business forum, because it's at that level that the partnerships will be signed, that the deals will be made, and our companies that have products to sell must persuade their partners in Finland to purchase more, to engage with South Africa more, to contract more with us.
I just want to then engage and get your sentiments around Finland now on the 4th of April joining NATO as the 31st country to join NATO. Of course, you are part of BRICS as South Africa, and they now have increased NATO's presence in the Russian border. Is this not of concern as the BRICS counterpart?
Well, no, I wouldn't be able to comment on the relationship between Finland and Russia. That is entirely a bilateral matter between the two. But of course, South Africa's interest is always to promote peace and goodwill. And so we would hope that NATO's intentions are not malevolent or evil in any way, but are intended to really ensure that its members' security interests are upheld, while also knowing that other countries have an interest in their security being upheld.
Okay, Minister, let me let you go as I see your counterparts there are actually starting to line up. Thank you very much, Minister Naledi Pandor there, of course, ironing out some of what we expect from the two-day visit from the President of Finland. In fact, it seems like we're about to get underway any moment now, as of course the ministers have lined up, and we're expecting the Finnish president to be welcomed by President Sauli Ramaphosa at around 10 to 10. In fact, my colleague Tammy is going to show you the delegation that's already starting to march there. That is the army itself, of course, and starting the parades here, as we're expecting this procession to be underway any minute now, Mfundo.
Well, absolutely. Aviwe, I could see there, of course, the cabinet ministers also in attendance, the likes of Zizikotwa, Kumbuzo Nchabeni, the likes of Sihle Zikalala, as well, lining up. Are supposed to also meet, right, when it comes to signing those MOUs with Finland. But, of course, all preparation seems to have clearly been panned out. We could see that musical item, of course, members of the army as well, ready to welcome both statesmen, as we're expecting them to make their way, of course, to the fore any moment now. Remembering that this is all to increase bilateral relations, strengthening trade and economic ties between the two countries, but also that business leadership summit or roundtable dinner expected later on this evening, where both business leaders of South Africa and Finland will be expected. I think I see there Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa, Paul Mashatile, as well, joining in cabinet ministers to, of course, welcome the Finland president. So, of course, we're seeing there that it means President Cyril Ramaphosa should be making his way alongside his Finnish counterpart any moment now, especially when we see the Deputy President as well lining up to join in the South African cabinet ministers. So all images allude to that beginning of the program, quite significant when we talk bilateral relations, business relationships, trade and investment between the two countries. And I suppose even Minister Naledi Pandor reiterating that there's a lot more that South Africa could do in terms of, export and quality export, that is, to Finland. Making an example with farming, saying agriculture could play quite a key role in terms of what we can offer Finland. But the amount of investment that Finland has already invested in South Africa, amounting to, just over 4 billion, just in terms of plants that have been set up, businesses that have been set up in South Africa, we could definitely see from Finland's side that they're quite intentional in strengthening those economic ties. But we'll hear what President Cyril Ramaphosa has to say, not only today, this morning, during this ceremony, but also during the business roundtable dinner expected later on. What exactly are South Africa's intentions in terms of also creating a mark for themselves in the country of Finland? We'll be sure to give you those developments and the very latest from the union buildings, as, of course, President Niinistö of Finland meets up with President Cyril Ramaphosa this morning on his official state visit.